What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Pour. I'm Jordan.
I'm Brian.
And our friend Tom has loaned us a bottle of Old Granddad 16.
So this has been highly anticipated for the last. I think it was one that actually was supposed to come out earlier and then got pushed back.
Okay.
It's been out for just a little bit now. It's obviously 16 years old. It's 100 proof. They put it in the same bottle as the Old Granddad.
Yeah.
So you're going to see that resemblance there.
Yeah.
Really dark, obviously, so for the 16-year-old age statement. One that I've been really looking forward to trying. What have you been hearing about it?
Mixed reviews. So I think I've heard more negative about it than positive. I'm trying to not let that impact me whatsoever, but I know a few other channels that I've watched that I regularly watch, they weren't necessarily the biggest.
It's kind of what I got out of what they were saying. It's not bad.
Right.
It just doesn't drink the price. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll get to that. So this is comes out of Jim Beam. I think you can get it at the distillery, and I think they will be opening it to distribution, or maybe it already is. Actually, it is already open to distribution because I think Vic's got a couple of them.
Oh, okay.
So they sold pretty quickly. Dive right into it here. Let's give Old Granddad 16 a nose here. Definitely met with oak.
Yeah, oak right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Really strong oak. Maybe just a hint of vanilla in there, but
it's kind of hard to get past the oak.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a whole lot of sweetness out of it. Because I normally, whenever I smell, I always start with what is sweet and then what's the oak like, but I can't really get a whole lot of sweetness.
This is really weird because it's going to make it sound like it's got a tannic taste. It's not tannic. It's got like a varnish.
Varnish? Yeah.
Like a lacquer type.
I could see that. I could see that for sure. There might be a bit of like a licorice.
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe that's
so lacquer and licorice. Lacquer and licorice.
Combination of that, because it's not a bad nose.
No,
it's actually a really good nose.
And if you really go down, you do begin to get a little caramel.
The oak kind of dominates it.
Yeah.
So hopefully maybe get the palate and then go back to the nose and see if it changes.
So let's go in for a sip here. That oak is there.
I get a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
My tongue is tingling a little bit, and it's kind of working its way back. So
darker chocolate.
Yeah. I didn't check the legs out on it. I don't have enough left to see, but
it's a little bit drying.
It does have a little drying taste.
That can be with a lot of oaked products, heavily oaked products. That can be kind of in.
Getting the other taste of that licorice or varnish type taste I was talking about. That's
like a licorice kind of thing.
It's carrying over.
Which Old Granddad is a higher rye mash bill. Mm-hmm. So and sometimes with rye you can get a little bit of licorice, and that combination with that and kind of oak. The tannins and the oak bitterness, I think, could lend to creating that kind of profile.
One thing I'm not getting is any nut.
Yeah, no nuttiness.
Nothing at all. And a lot of times that's a complaint you get out of Jim Beam.
Right.
It's too much.
Yeah, no nuttiness on the nose or the palate. I'm gonna go for another sip here.
Second sip is really dry.
Yeah, but there's a little bit more spice on the second sip for me, and maybe still not a whole lot of sweetness, but maybe like a medicinal cherry.
I was getting ready to say cherry.
Okay.
I'm picking up a cherry.
Yeah. Still drying, medicinal kind of cherry, and just a lot of oak. Now, I was fortunate enough last week, our friend Terry Meyer bought a bottle of Knob Creek 18, which of course is also produced by Jim Beam. Mm-hmm. And that was, that's got a higher oak profile to it as well, and it's been 2 years more in the barrel than this one, but that oak was way sweeter than this one, and they're the same proof, so that's, I think, something worth noting. This one, maybe they proofed it down a little bit too much to where that oak overtook it. I'm not an expert in that area, but based on stuff that I've read over the years, that can be a thing.
Right. So. But given the bottle, I wish they would have kind of went with the higher proof, maybe the 111, like for the
114.
114. Sorry. For the Old Granddad, because I think that extra proof would have really helped it out.
It might have balanced a little bit of the flavors, maybe brought out a little bit more spice. It's still good.
It's good.
It is good. I don't know if we mentioned in the video or at the beginning of the video, $200 MSRP. Mm-hmm. I am, I don't really buy in that range too much, but no, actually not at all. But no, I wouldn't pay $200 for it.
I had planned to go down to the distillery the day this dropped, and it was middle of a whenever the hurricane
Yeah,
hit, and we were getting pelted with rain.
Right.
It was terrible weather, so I ended up not going.
Yeah.
And then now tasting this, probably glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But one it's still a cool bottle.
Yes.
And if I had it, I wouldn't be mad.
Sure.
But I wouldn't want to spend $200
Yeah.
for it.
It does come with a cool ribbon on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, sir. And also,
constellation.
yeah.
prize.
If you're for me, I would pass on it, and I probably wouldn't be happy if I spent $200 on it myself. Now, if you have a really high oak threshold, and oak is something that you really look for, then I think that might be kind of a must-have bottle to compare to other higher oak profiles. I do like a lot of oak. I just think that this one borders. It's kind of over the threshold of kind of a tannic oak that just doesn't line up with my palate. But what you said too, it's a cool bottle. Old Grandad is a brand that I love. This is the first Old Grandad product that I just haven't been too wild about.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, comparing it to what you would buy an Old Grandad for on the high end, $30.
Yeah.
So you can buy six of those for the same price as this, and have $15 change.
Kind of.
Or you can buy 4 and then get you a bonded.
Yeah, that's right.
Which
that's
the bonded may be actually my favorite.
Yeah, I think the bonded might be my favorite out of all the Old Grandad products. So
I saw somebody do this. Do you have a bottle of the Old Grandad?
114, I do. Yeah. Let me go grab it real quick. We'll be right back after these messages. All right, we're back. So, Brian, you had this suggestion that you said you had seen this.
Yeah, so Jason with Mash and Drum.
Okay.
After he did his review and compared them, he blended them together.
Okay.
So I think that it's going to get us closer to that higher proof. So I think that's a pretty good idea. So I think we ought to try that.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a necessarily like, because I do often will say proof isn't everything, but I think this would benefit from a little bit higher proof. Ooh, so that definitely brought out more of a butterscotch kind of note, and it brought out a lot more caramel sweetness that you're looking for in bourbon.
A lot more on the nose and not quite so forward on the oak. It's hotter.
So before, with just the Old Grandad 16, that oak was at the forefront, is all kind of all you got, and now it's still present, but it's kind of in the back. I don't know if that makes any sense when you kind of know something. Do you know what? Let's go. I'd buy that.
Yes.
So technically, Brian, what we could do is we could go down and buy this and each put $100 in this, and then we could get this for $30, and then we both would have a bottle, and we could just mix them. Yeah. So actually, technically, you could get a bottle of this for $115.
And I'd be tickled to death if I got this for $130.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So either buy them both and blend them.
And be good with two $115 bottles.
Or Jim Beam, if you're listening out there, maybe proof this one up next year.
Yeah.
Because that's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's something I definitely would buy, and it probably only proofed it up like 5 or 6 points, but hey,
but it made a world.
It made a big difference.
Mouth's still tingling.
Yeah,
it actually has a really.
Just like there's an art to aging, there's an art to blending. So, all right, well, once again, really appreciate our buddy Tom Blandford for providing this bottle for us to review. And we're going to end this episode the same way that we always do, and that is when you're with your family and your friends, always share your whiskey.